So here we are asking the question, are you investing and investing and investing into marketing only to find the return is less than maybe a few coins? Well, you're in the right place to discover how to turn your marketing into money reliable. Hello, I am Sigrid Kaas, strategic marketing and visibility specialist, and I have this big vision to position established and bold leaders to showcase their expertise, expand their influence, and connect with high-value opportunities on a global virtual expo platform where the right decision makers come to you without the limits of location and time. And I have invited from the other side of the world, Estie Starr. Hello, Estie, marketing expert, and you are an exhibitor at our upcoming Virtual Expo. Estie, you're here to share your insights and expertise. Welcome.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
It's really great to be able to connect across the globe so easily these days. And I think there is so much knowledge, wisdom from someone like you to share, and the expertise, of course, as well. So let's jump right into the topic that you are here to give us some insights on: marketing, turning that into money reliable. Now, how do you do that in your own experience? I would imagine you have done this over and over for yourself and for clients. Where do we start with that? Where's
Where
the...
did we start? We started when I was 10 years old,
Wow.
really. I ran my first profitable business when I was 10, calculating cost of goods sold, working with suppliers, advertising. So I think I'm a little bit born with it. I am one of those. And I did go to business school in New York, one of the top business schools in the country, based in New York. I majored in marketing, the concentration in advertising and communication. And then I went to work for nonprofit for
Wow.
a while. So I combined my marketing and business savvy with the ability to do a lot on a skeleton budget. And so when I teach marketing, I don't teach you how to throw money at a problem and hope it solves it. I teach you how to work smarter, not harder, spend less, earn more. That's just more fun to me. I have 5 children. I'm now a single mom, and working with low budgets and low time is kind of my specialty.
Yeah, and I think you've just hit a point there. I think in particular as women we do, because we are mostly the ones looking after the children and budgeting for the whole household. So budgeting in itself and knowing where to put the dollar is really key for us in general. And I saw somewhere you were talking about, people do spend on website updates and another update and another update, and a lot of money goes in rebranding, which all they mean is get a new logo and get some new colors. That's not really giving a reliable return, is it, in your knowledge?
No, not at all, because it's just one piece of a puzzle,
Mm.
right? So if you imagine that this puzzle has 7 pieces, yeah, really 12, but let's simplify for the moment. The simplest version has 7 pieces. Most people do one, two, maybe three. And if they're lucky, they've got the other four, five, six working. And so that one, two, three that they do or fix or update makes it work. Then they tell all their friends, I did this one thing and it worked. They never realized there were 7 pieces because four they just did naturally. Great, good for you. But the other guy only had three set up naturally, only fixed the two that you did, and it didn't work
Mm.
because it's a machine. I like to call it the marketing machine. A marketing machine is where you put in marketing activity on one side, and on the other side, reliably out pops money, paying clients and customers. That's how it's supposed to work. It's not a crapshoot, right? If it was, no one could ever do this.
And I think that is, I love that, because a machine, it is, for another word, a system with processes perhaps, but a machine is a much more visual, that we can really visualize. Oh, there's this machine and I can put something in and I get something back out again, because if I put the right thing in, I'll get the right thing back out again. I love that. That is just making it so much more practical and able to be visualizing. Now, I'm going to come back to what you just shared with us. You've been in business since you're 10 years old, and you've already done, things at that stage that are really business opportunities, and then you furthered that with actual marketing studies. Estie, does it require a person to be business minded to go into business and market their business properly?
I don't believe so. It's a skill. It's an art and a science. You can learn it like anything else. While there are some people who are more naturally good at it, they are the few. Okay. I like to say there are 5 types of entrepreneurs. Yeah, because all I do all day is really turn ideas into money. So let's use ideas as the acronym. Most people think of business owners just as the D in ideas, the deal makers. Okay, that's our classic business person. Commerce, buying and selling, salesy, dealsy, right? They're wheelers and dealers. Like that's our vision. If you read any, old books or anything old, business people are deal makers. That's the only version we had for many years. Deal makers, marketplace stall runners, those are business people. And then, entering into the late 20th, early 21st century, the I in ideas, the innovators. Suddenly the innovators were business people. They made startups. What is a startup? A startup is an innovator. Some person has this new idea, and then the deal makers come in and fund it. Right? So we got
That, yes.
so suddenly people who have ideas, who are just innovative, have this new thing, they can be business people too. They just, they might have to learn business. Suddenly, someone who's not naturally business minded, who's just innovative, could be a business person if they learn business. And so we teach them, we put them in these incubators and combinators and all these whatever. We put them into things that teach them business. So if they're an innovator, we teach them business. Suddenly, I can have a business person who was an innovator. That's a new thing. Didn't used to be a thing. But that's still only 2 out of the 5 types. Okay, so
Yeah.
what are the rest of the idea people? What are the rest of these ideas that turn into money? So then you have E, and E is one of the largest up and coming business segments today, and these are experts. And I wouldn't just say that these are the coaches, consultants, authors. These are anyone who comes with an expertise. So these are also the graphic designers and the fitness trainers and the therapists and um, there's so many people who have an expertise, whether they took a certification course or they're just naturally good at something. They're good at something. They're good at it because they trained in it. They're good at it because they were employed as it, right? So they're the bookkeepers and the accountants and the lawyers. They're all the people who are good at something. They have an expertise, and some of them want to go off and be coaches, consultants, authors, course creators. That's what they sound like. And some of them want to actually do the thing they're good at. They're good at a thing. Can they make a business out of it? Answer, yes. Just like the idea people, we can teach them business and marketing, and they can take their expertise and they can package it and they can turn it into a sustainable business.
Mm.
So we've got the E's, right? IDEA, right? So who are the A's? Those are the artists. Can artists be business people? Really not different than the others. If business is a skill that I can teach an innovator and I can teach an expert, I can teach it to an artist. I don't care how creative you are, how flighty, how fluffy, I don't care. I've taken artists selling their art for hundreds of dollars to tens of thousands of dollars to create stable businesses out of it. Business is a skill. And lastly, I have the S, I have the solutionizers. And often solutionizers will run a nonprofit, right? They've got a solution to a problem, or they're not quite an innovator. They don't have an innovative solution. It's not something new, but they have an answer to a problem that's not being answered right now. That makes a business too. I can businessify any of these ideas. Innovation, deal making. Sometimes a deal maker just comes across a really good deal.
Yeah.
How do you businessify that if you don't just want to hustle all day? There is something to that. All of the people with expertise, the artists and the solutionizers, they can learn business. It's a thing we teach.
Yeah. So you really can become that, but you've got to be open to look at what is there that you need to take on board, and that it is not just one tiny little area. As you said earlier, there are 12 altogether areas or things to look at to really bring forward your business with all the marketing and turning marketing itself into a machine, really. So just looking at one area on its own, that's not what's going to bring that reliability into whatever you're doing, correct? Is that what I heard you say?
Read so many times over, and here's a great way to relate to it.
Mm.
Whatever is the thing that you're good at, however long you spent on your innovation or honing your deal making or building up your expertise or crafting, right? Honing your craft as an artist or working, however long you spent developing that, you need at least that much time to learn this thing called business.
Yeah.
It irritates me to no end. I will stand on this soapbox forever until it collapses and this stops happening. I said, I get and I see so many people who go through some kind of training course and they spend weeks to months to years learning a discipline or a craft or something.
Mm.
And then they spend a day to a week to a month maximum learning business. My dears, business is just as big of a thing as whatever thing you learned. That doesn't mean you can't learn it, but if it's not working for you, you're just not that good yet.
Mm.
Let's go back and learn it, and don't learn it the corporate way because you don't have a corporate budget and you don't have corporate name recognition. So everyone, this is not as much of a problem anymore, but for a while, I've been in the field 16 years now. For a while, there were a lot of these people like, former marketing executive at Coca-Cola, at Google, at whatever. I will do marketing for your small business. No, you can't. You have no idea what a small business marketing looks like. It looks completely different than corporate marketing. It is not the same at all. You have nothing close to the budget or the manpower or the name recognition. And all of corporate marketing relies on those three things: name recognition, manpower, and budget. Little guys got none of that. So they go to one of these consultants and he's like, okay, yeah, you can start with a $40,000 budget. That might get you, the first month or two. And the small business owner's like, I just paid you $10,000 or $20,000. I don't have 40 more. And then they come to me crying.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's that big imbalance often that, ideas come, this whole idea of branding or rebranding. I mean, that requires a completely different approach and a completely different size of a business to really make a go of that for a small business with a tiny or no budget at the time, in my experience. So, spending all this time and money on colors and logos and website and whatever else, you really want to get in there and understand what are the components in my business that I need to really move forward to achieve the outcome that I'm looking for in the business. So learning business is the thing that requires time, at least as much as learning your expertise. Love that point. Really well made, Estie. Now, if you were to give us, let's say, 3 steps to create this reliability with your marketing, are there outstanding 3 that you could mention here? I'm putting you on the spot now, but I know
I
you're a
can give
professional.
you 3 of 7. So just so you
Right.
know that there are 7, I'll
Right.
give you the first 3. So we'll start in order. Okay.
Okay.
Step
Okay.
1 of 7 is putting the right people in.
Mm-hmm.
That's step 1 of 7 is I need to know my people. As a small business, not everyone is your prospect. Yeah, everyone could buy this. No, they can't. Not everyone's interested. Not everyone cares. If you can't identify the segment that would be the best people for you, it's going to be very hard for you to reliably get their attention. Because step 2 is attention. But I don't go get attention, do advertising or any form of promotion until I know who my people are. If I don't know who my people are, what am I doing getting attention? Well, I'm just going to put it out there. Why? Why would you just put it out there? And marketing is a machine, it's not a slot machine. Most people pay marketing slot machines. Put in money, pull lever, will it spit something out? Here's the problem with that. Even when you win, you lose. I had a call from a woman a little while ago. Hi, Estie, I heard you're a marketing genius. Thanks. I just had a question. I did a coaching program, and then at the end, they did a lesson on SEO and ads so that we could do our business. That was the totality of the marketing training. And by the way, it's not an isolated incident. I've gotten many of these calls. So Estie, I did Google Ads, and the first month I spent $400, and I got a client, and they paid me $1,500, and it worked. Amazing. So Estie, I did it at the second month, $400, and nothing happened. I did it the third month, $400, nothing happened. Um, so now she's basically eaten her entire profits from that one win. Estie, how many months do I need to do it to see results? So then you are playing marketing slot machines. You have no idea what worked the first time. You have no idea how to replicate it. There is no number of months or amount of time that makes this better. That's like saying to me, Esty, how many times do I need to pull the lever on the slot machine and how much money do I need to feed it to win? I don't know. See if you get lucky. There's no recipe for this. The only thing I can tell you is the house always wins because it's rigged. The only person who wins when you play marketing slot machines are the advertisers.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Google wins. That's why they're still around. You're gone because you were playing slot machines. You have no idea. To make it a reliable money printing machine is a totally different game. So step one, I figure out who my people are. Step two, I go and get their attention. Step three, what do I get their attention with? I call it a compelling message. Okay, so that little beginning trifecta is our first chunk of the 7. There are 4 more pieces afterwards. But if I'm not getting the right attention of the right people with a message that interests them, I've got nowhere to go after that. That is the input to my machine.
It's the absolute core, really, isn't it? And it is something that floats around out there often when early starters in business look and they think, this sounds great, I'll take this, and they only take one component of it, and then it just doesn't come together. Exactly like you're saying, there's nowhere to go when those first 3 are not in place. Do you find that sometimes people object to it, and even if they're not openly object to that they want to just do it their way, even though they've come to you asking for help? Have you had those instances? Yeah, I'm seeing you smile
all the time because I am not shiny object.
Yeah.
Right? I might look like a shiny object from the outside, but as soon as you talk to me, I'm going to obligate you to do the real work to get a real win.
Yeah.
And the world is full of shiny object syndrome. And we are raised, at least in Western society, all over the world, Western society, it's not only in the West at this point, to believe that there is some version of like point, click, website business, ta-da! And we hear story after story of a person who just did this one thing and then is earning all this money and did that one thing. And so everyone's looking for the one thing. And that's what I call shiny object syndrome.
Yeah.
I just do this one thing. Magazine, it's conditioned to us in every area of life, right? All the beauty industry, just do this thing to your body, just do this thing to your personality and get the ideal mate. And it's taught to us in work, just do this training, get this degree, get this certification, and then you'll get the promotion. Like it's taught to us in every area of life. It's a microwave life. Yeah, but the thing about microwaves is they're great. I love my microwave. I use it probably daily. If not at least a few times a week. Remember, 5 kids. So microwaves are my friend. And they don't do the same thing to the food that the oven does. Plus, while there are people who have learned to cook in a microwave, it's not the same. And you don't really cook in one. Like you reheat things in a microwave. You know, it's not, this is not where you get your gourmet 5-star Michelin level meals. Your microwave. But then you try to microwave your business and you're like, why haven't I earned my $1 million yet? Because you have nothing. And I do have people come to me who are like, well, I heard you can do this. So can you do it and what will it cost? So that's just not how it works. What do you mean that's not how it works? That's not how, I'm 16 years in and I'm hundreds of success stories. It's not how it works. Okay, forget it. Bye. And some of them come back months or years later and they say, you know, I didn't want to listen to you. I wanted to try it. I've had so many people do this. Some of them say, I wanted to try it my way. Some of them say, I had to try it my way. I had to waste the money. I had to waste the time. But you're right, it didn't work. I'm like, I know. I'll be here when you're done.
It's paying for experience, you know. Some people just want to pay to have that experience rather than going straight to the right source and following that guidance, that direction that there is. So sure, if that's what you want to do. But I have heard that a lot too. And in my experience, that happens, that you give them the practical, direct steps, and you know that it takes not just one step, but there's a series there to get there. And yet, you know, it's got to be now, now, now. And we're living in that kind of a society where things are more or less instant, aren't they? Especially now where we're moving also with this hype to some extent around AI. Use AI for everything. You can use it in your business, and I'm sure you're integrating that in your directions to clients as well, but in a way that it is supportive and sustainable and not as the one quick fix. Would I be correct in thinking that?
Absolutely. It's getting stupider, which really annoys me. Like I've been on AI since it came out, from the very early stages. So for the last few years, I've been using it, and I have replaced full staff positions with it, right? It saves me thousands of dollars a month. And I feel like every time I try to re-ask it something I've asked it in the past, it gives me a worse answer. Because it is kind of the collective knowledge of humanity. And so the more humanity we feed it, the more people use it, the stupider it seems to get. What? You're supposed to get smarter, not dumber. Why are you giving me? I asked you this question a while ago. Why is this? I was expecting a better answer. I didn't like the answer from before. I wanted to see if it could give me a better one. It's giving me a worse one. Stop that. So I love AI. AI replaces a lot of low-level positions, right? But
Yeah.
as everybody who is an expert in anything knows, anything that you know a lot about, AI is going to be wrong. That's not wrong. It's that it's not as smart as you with your level of expertise. It's like a $20, $30 an hour person. It's like a double minimum wage employee. It's not straight up minimum wage. It's like up to 2 times minimum wage level employee. It can do basics, it can do research, it can do base level copy and image design and a lot of things, but it has no level of the depth of understanding for results.
It's just a tool, isn't it? It's like if you've got a hammer, the hammer doesn't think for you where the nail is. You've got to still place it into the right position and then use it before it does the job, I guess. That's a good way of perhaps looking at.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you could rig it with like a whole thing that it hammers by itself, but there's still, you got to set the thing up.
That's
It's
right.
the human intelligence directing it that makes it do
Mm.
things.
Mm. So, really, in summarizing your expertise sharing here today to create reliable, to have marketing be reliable for you so that it does return for you, it is always about setting it up. There isn't just that one quick fix step. You've got to have a machine, and that machine needs to be set up, and it needs to be set up for you specifically, not just what someone else achieved or what all these people might want. You've got to look at it, and you've shared with us the very first 3 steps that you need to look at. Who are your people, those prospects that you go after? It isn't everybody. You got to grab their attention, and you've got to have the right message that resonates with them, and sometimes also at the right time, I think. What would you want to add and leave the audience with for this segment of sharing your insights, Estie?
Mm. I would love to tell people who are frustrated or have gotten stuck. I love birthing business dreams. I think that's, if you're really gonna say like, Esty, what do you do? Like I'm like a doula. Like I turn ideas into money. I turn money into more money. I take people where they want to go in their businesses. And I speak to so many people who, over these last few years, have gotten disheartened because there's this like revolution coming out of COVID that I've observed of, first that like excitement of this is possible and I can leave my job and have the freedom and look at all these people doing it. Look at these 20-year-olds on the beach with their laptops telling me to make courses. It'll be great. And they come out with all this hope and all this hype. And then
Yeah.
they get out there and they're like, well, now I've wasted a whole bunch of time, a whole bunch of money, and I don't think this will ever work. And I've been watching this happen in the world. And I just want to say, you get older, you get smarter. Every experience makes you smarter. You know more now than you did before. I think the general world knows more now than it did before. And it doesn't mean you can't have what you want. It doesn't mean it's not possible. It doesn't mean it's not meant for you. Just because you didn't do it right yet doesn't mean you can't learn what you need to do it right in the future. If you dream it, it's meant for you. This is my core belief. I've seen it not only for myself, but for hundreds of others that I've worked with over the years successfully. If you dream it, it's meant for you. Don't give up, keep going.
Don't give up. Keep going and set it up step by step. It's not just a one flick switch on and it all works. Thank you,
Learn
Esty.
the whole thing, please. Stop trying to be shiny object syndrome and chase things. Don't ever spend more money than you can afford to lose.
Mm.
Okay? Because there's two things that happen again. One, it might not work. That's the obvious. I don't care how big the promise is. And two, spending more money than you can afford to lose actually removes responsibility from you and tries to put it on someone else to make you successful. And that's almost always a signal for failure.
Yeah.
Spend more than you can afford to lose. You make yourself vulnerable in a way that's very hard to bounce back from.
Great advice, great tips. Thank you for sharing, and especially to also sharing your background that you've been in the business mindset for such a long time. Thanks for this today, Estie, and we will hear more from you in the future. And you are one of our exhibitors at the upcoming May Expo. So for our viewers today, if you'd like to hear and see more of Estie, come and join us as a visitor, at least at the expo. Thank you.
Pleasure. Thank you so much. See you guys there.